Hi, you are going to be watching a video clip of my husband cutting the cord after our baby was born on our kitchen floor less than 2 hours after the hospital sent me home. So that's what's going to be on here. But first, I'm going to read you her birth story so that you know some of the details of what happened that day. Okay. I was having contractions off and on all day. After I attended Visitor's Day in my daughter's school, they were getting very uncomfortable. This was around 4 p.m. My husband was scheduled to work until around 10. He told me to ask my mom if she could come over early just in case. His boss made him leave early so that him, his mom, and my mom all showed up to my house around 8:30 p.m. By 11:30, we were loading up the car for the hospital. His mom stayed home with the other 2 kids who were sleeping. My contractions were 5 minutes apart and 1 to 2 minutes long. We stayed in the hospital's parking lot until midnight to make sure that I would get my extra full day to stay in the hospital. After checking in and changing in my room, I was hooked up to the monitors. A nurse checked me around 12:15 and said I was about a 1. She checked again around 1:30, 2:20, and 2:50 and said that I was still at a 1. She told me that since I wasn't progressing, I wasn't considered an active labor, so I would not be able to stay in the hospital, and she would be getting ready to release me to go home. I was like, what? I never had to do that with my other 2 kids. And my mom and my husband are both like, yeah, she should stay here because she's really fast. And the nurse is like, well, I can check her again in a while, but that's what our policies, our procedures are. And we're like, okay. So yeah, she checked me all those times and said I was still at a 1 and told me that I could leave. And I said, well, can we wait out in the parking lot? And she said, you can go anywhere you want to. And I said, we just can't stay in here. And she said, yeah, I'm sorry. You can't stay in here. We're like, okay. So we got all our stuff. I got dressed again. Back to the car we went. Oh yeah, and my contractions before I left the hospital, I was holding onto the bed with my eyes shut. I couldn't even walk. I could hardly talk. I was like, this is crazy. Why are they making me leave? But yeah, so back in the car we went. After we got home, my mother-in-law and my husband went downstairs to take a nap so that they'd be ready for the rest of the night. And my mom stayed upstairs with me and started writing down contractions. The first one she wrote down was at 3:33 a.m. So yeah, we were at the hospital from midnight until a little bit after 3. And then at home at 3:33 a.m., I started getting up, going to the bathroom, swaying back and forth while I was standing, kept thanking God for helping me, holding onto the island, crouching for a while, keeping an eye on the clock. I looked towards the TV, and some of the things that I've been watching came up inside my spirit, like that I don't have to have a spirit of fear, that fear tries to come on our bodies. And as I kept resisting the fear and I kept thanking God and praising Jesus, I decided that at 4:45, I would tell everyone that we should go back to the hospital. So when 4:45 came, I'm like, okay, Mom, I think we should go now. And she said, okay, just give me one more contraction, just one more, you can do it. And then I'll go wake up your husband. So I was like, okay. And right after she said that, I had one. So she quick went downstairs to wake him up. She's like, we gotta go. But by the time she got back up the stairs, my water had broke. And I was like, oh great, we're not going anywhere now. And I said, my water broke. So then my mom kind of started to freak out, and my husband came up and he called the hospital, and they could hear me in the background. So she's like, you need to call 911 now. So he called 911, and then meanwhile to feel it burning. And I'm like, Mom, it's burning. We're not going to be able to go anywhere. And she's like trying to hold on to my belly and down there. And she's like, don't push. We gotta go. And I'm like, Mom, I feel it burning. We're not going anywhere. She's like, okay, well, then take your pants off. I'm like, I can't. So she said, okay, well, then I will. So she pulled my pants down. I put my hand down there, and I was like, I feel something. I think it's a head. She's like, well, then lay down. And then she started yelling at my husband to turn the real lights on because we had mood lighting on. And she couldn't see. So she's yelling at him to turn on the lights. And then the 911 operator's trying to figure out what's going on, where we're at, what's happening. And it was funny. But, so yeah, so my mom's yelling at him for lights. And then, so then she told me to lay down. So I grabbed onto the island and I was like, is she gonna help me lay down? Nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing it myself. So I lowered myself down to the floor, and then she said, oh yeah, there's the head, I see it. And I was like, really? So then she's like, if you want, you can push. So I pushed, and she was like, well, there's the rest of the head. And then she goes, okay, wait a second, I think the shoulder is stuck or something. So she twisted her a little bit, and she goes, okay, now you can push. And I wanted to see it. So I sat up like the best I could, leaning back on my hands, and sat up and then looked and pushed and saw her slide right out. It was so cool. So yeah, then she slid out, and we started rubbing her and patting her on the back and saying, come on baby, you can breathe, come on. And then my mom's like, okay, we need a soft blanket or something. So my husband gave her a towel, and our dryer hadn't been working, so our towels were all crunchy and hard. So she threw it back at him and said, this isn't soft. And he's like, where's the blanket? I'm like, I don't know, I think they're all still downstairs except for the ones out in the car. So my mom's like, well, what about that one on the recliner? So he grabbed this snowman soft fuzzy blanket, and my mom wrapped her in that, and she had to unwrap the umbilical cord from her neck a couple times. But then, yeah, she started crying, and Aaron was still on the phone with 911, and he was kind of groggy because he just woke up from his nap. And then he was trying to find his mom so she could help us get the blanket and the nose sucky thingy and all that. But she went downstairs to pray because she didn't want to be around all that stuff, which is fine. We needed the prayer for sure. And yeah. So then the paramedics and the EMT and the policeman came up and are like, oh, she's here, or the baby's here. We're like, yeah. So then they were asking us questions, and then you'll get to see Aaron cut the cord, and the policeman was using our cell phone to record it for us because I'd wanted everything on video. And then that was the only part we got on video. My mom's like, you better get this on video, because she wanted all of it on video. So then they recorded that, and that's what you're going to be watching next. My mom kept saying he, and I'm like, so it's a boy? And she goes, yeah, wait, I better check again. So she looked, and she's like, oh, it's a girl. I'm like, oh, it's a girl, yay! Because I wanted my other daughter to have a sister. And then I was trying to be really quiet because I didn't want the other kids to get woke up and to hear all the noise. But the after the paramedics and everybody came in, then my daughter was in the bathroom, and she's like, I hear a newborn. Is the newborn here? And Mama, I need toilet paper. So we all started laughing. That was really cute. So then my husband went in there and helped her. And they got me and the baby all wrapped up and loaded into the ambulance. And my mom and Aaron followed the ambulance in their cars. Then when we got to the hospital, I felt bad for the nurse. She didn't really want to look us in the eye, and she looked really embarrassed. So I felt bad for her. But yeah, you should have sent us home. No, I do like telling this story, and it was really fun, actually. But yeah, so once I got to the hospital, then the nurse pushed on me for the placenta to come out, and that felt really weird because it felt like it just flew out of me. And then she gave me a couple stitches. And then after everything settled down a bit more, it was so sweet. The paramedic and the EMT came in with a gift bag and brought us some treats and some snacks and a really soft blanket. And it was so sweet. I wish we would have gotten pictures of them holding her because it was so nice of them. And then we found out that we go to Bible study with one of their wives. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, that's the birth story. Now I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks.